Hey guys, Gordon Carver here, Defy Augusta GM. Just want to make a quick video and show you some tips and tricks on how to tape and lay out a park, the most efficient and clean and pristine way to do that. The biggest goal behind this, we're purveyors of awesomeness. We're not just laying tape on the ground for people to follow. We have to do it in a manner that represents the standard that Circus Tricks promotes. And the biggest question is, how we're going to drive the active entertainment movement across the globe and create these memorable moments, inspire participation, and support our teammates and guests as we achieve new heights together. And that is by making our park look amazing and help support regulations for social distancing. So here's the tips and tricks. I hope you like it. If you got any questions, just let me know. Thank you. All right, let's talk about the kind of tape I used. All right, so I was going to use painter's tape, but the bottom line, painter's tape is great for painting. It's great for like lining and outlining things. It's just not very durable. I noticed after I walked over it a few times, it was already coming up. It was dirty. It's kind of a fibrous on top, so it's kind of clothy. So it just doesn't do really well. We have to have something that's very durable. So I tried two other tapes. I tried a duct tape and I tried Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape is great. It sticks very, very well. The problem with Gorilla Tape, it's really hard to tear. It's actually hard to cut. It strings really, really bad. It's not as forgiving as duct tape. And if it sticks to itself, it's over. You might as well throw that away. And one thing we don't want to do is waste a lot of materials while we're doing this. So I did go with the 3M duct tape. It's called Tough Tape. It's their version of the original duct tape. It's actually just a little bit cheaper. And that's one thing. Another thing we want to do is watch how much cost we're putting into this too. So we want to be price conscious, and we also want a product that's going to look really good. It's very, very reflective, as you can see in the video right here. They shine really well, so they're not going to just be dull like painter's tape is. It's very dull on top. You can't really see it that well also. So again, it's 3M duct tape, Tough Tape. I got it at Lowe's. Home Depot has it, but they only have 3 colors, black, white, and silver. All of our other crafting stores, Joann's, Michael's, they only have certain colors also. And again, their tape is not as wide as this. This is a 2-inch width tape. 2 inches is great because it gives us a really good surface to put our arrows down, and it just looks really clean. If you go any thinner, I believe it's going to get lost. So again, 3M duct tape, Tough Tape, 2 inches, and it's a great tape to use. All right, so let's talk about the colors that we have, okay? So to bring us into the entrance, into our POS stations for customers to check in, we're going to use blue. Blue is going to get us all the way to the POS stations. From the POS stations to our locker stations, we're going to use green. Green takes us into the locker station, makes our rotation, and then it takes us out of the locker station up to the entrance into our parks. Now, when we get into the parks, all directional traffic is going to be done with red tape. That's going to take us onto attractions and off of attractions, and then back around to wherever our exit point is going to be. From the exit point, we're going to use yellow tape. Now, yellow is going to take us back to the locker areas. It's going to intertwine back into the lockers with green, and then from the locker station, it's going to exit the facility using yellow. So again, we're coming in with blue, we're going to green, we're going to red inside the park, and then we're going to yellow. All right, let's talk about clean rip technique. Now, clean rip technique is something I have mastered and perfected over many, many years of taping things. I've taped things since I was a young child, and I'm still taping things today. So, no, but for real, it's not rocket science. It's just knowing how to do it and the best way to do it. The best way I've found in ripping tape cleanly, you find a pinch point. That pinch point is going to be between thumb and index, You find it, and then all you're going to do is get it close enough together, put your fingers here, like so. Quick, fast rip, and then boom. Then we have a nice, clean line that we can lay down. And the good thing about this process for me, once you get it down, it becomes really easy and fast. Just clean, pinch point, speed across, and then there I am laying down rows. Another thing you can do also, if you have to, or if you just can't get those rips to be very clean, you can lay this product out on a surface, and you can come in with scissors and you can cut your line, and it's also clean too. It takes a little bit more time. If you're gonna do it like that, I would recommend lining a countertop or a push cart or whatever you're gonna use to go throughout your park. Whatever it takes to get it done. But ripping it, try that a few times to see if you can get it. If you can get it, it's gonna make it go a lot quicker. If you have to tape it, you have to tape it. Just set yourself up to have a lot of tape already cut and ready to roll. All right, now let's talk about straight lines. Straight lines with tape, to me, are relatively easy to create. It's all about the process and how you put it down. And it's actually all about the work you do beforehand. A lot of us could go into our parks and just start laying lines down, and we really don't know where they're gonna match or where they're gonna end up at. What I found the best practice is after you've drawn your plan out and how you want your park to go and the directions and the flow, it's best to break it up into sections. Let's first do our entrance section, from the entrance to the POS. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take some smaller pieces of tape. You can pre-cut these, you can rip these as you're walking along. The way I did mine is I just had some black duct tape already in my park that I use. And what I did was I kind of traced out my lines. I put a starting point and an end point. So what that's gonna allow me to do, it's gonna allow me to start at a point. As I pull my tape away from that starting point, I'm able to keep visually a straight line to my next point. I'm gonna demonstrate that in just a moment in another part of this video, but it's the best practice to go ahead and mark out your start and end point for every line that you're gonna have in the park. Unless it's a very small line and you just can lay that tape across, cut, rip evenly and cleanly. So yeah, get you a bunch of small pieces. And again, this is just gonna be our start and ending point for each of our lines inside of the park. In this area out, I'm gonna lay my starting point down here. I'm not pushing it all the way because I don't want this to get really stuck. I'm getting my exit point. We're gonna back up to where I'm going to end my line. And there is my end point. So now I have 2 points of reference. So I'm gonna start with my tape. I have my starting point and my end point. Once I get this line pulled, I pull off just enough to know where I'm going to be. That is now removed. I make sure that just enough is down to hold. And with duct tape, if you're pulling the duct tape with you instead of walking in front of it, it's going to pull cleaner. So what we want to do is grab our end. This will allow me to look at the tape. I hold it up. I bring my line down perfectly where I want it to be. And then I walk my line. This is putting the tape down. And as you can see, it allows us to have a straight, crisp, clean cut line from starting point to the ending point. Now, one of the things that we do not want to do is you do not want to attempt this by walking behind the tape. A lot of people will try to just hold it out and just walk it down. Well, you can see how difficult this is, and already that's my line. So, best practice, let's find a starting point. Let's have a taped end point, and let's pull our line in between it. Pulling from the starting point, look at the line, find the end point, lay it down, and then walk it out. Now let's talking about our arrows and how we pull those lines. Inside of my park, I spaced my arrows out every 6 feet. Not only did it lessen the amount of time I was laying arrows down, it also allowed me to mark and to have a visual reference of where people are in my park as far as how close they're being. If they're stationary or if they're congregating, they have to be 6 feet apart regardless. If they're moving in and out of the park, it's 3 to 4 feet. But so all of my lines, all of my arrows are based 6 feet apart, and I'll show you how I did that now. All right, so this is probably one of the most tedious parts of this job. I did my park 99% by myself, and so I had to figure out ways to get this done. And if some of the other GMs or individuals doing this in other parks, they might have other people, which makes it great. But if you're doing it by yourself, it can be done. All you need is some just black duct tape, whatever color you already have that you're not going to be using for laying down, 100-foot tape, or if you just have a tape measure, if you're doing smaller sections, and a Sharpie. It's pretty simple. I'm going to take my end point down of my tape measure. I'm then going to pull my line. back, mark my starting, come down 6 feet, one little tick, down 12 feet, one little tick. And if this was the end of my line, if this was gonna cut off to the right or to the left or diagonally, I would draw a small arrow where that was going. So this is gonna go to my left diagonally, and I draw a small. So my ticks. Small lines. And then which way it was going. Okay, in order for us to get a good crisp corner, after we get our pieces cut, and we're lining and maybe we're making a right angle turn, best thing we want to do, we just don't want to lay it over it. You want to make sure that you're lining up with the straightest point you have. Secure that corner first, and then you're able to stretch it out. That gives us a good clean cut and a good clean right angle. All right, let's talk about arrow construction. Now, a lot of people just rip some tape, plop it down, rip another piece, plop it down, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't give you the right look of the arrows. And then you're not able to move your arrows if you have to, or to actually line them up. Again, we're purveying awesomeness, we're achieving new heights together, and I promise you, putting the work into this is gonna look so good. There's some places, you know, that we all go to right now that have these lines and things down, and they don't look good. You can just tell they haphazardly put them down. It doesn't really want to make you walk on them or stay in that area. But if someone took the time to put down clean, pristine lines, trust me, they're gonna notice it and they're gonna respect it. So you get your two pieces. I did all of mine 3 to 4 inches long. Again, you can measure all these out, or you know, you just see them. So to make your line, to make your arrows, it's pretty simple. We're gonna take our corners, we're gonna conjoin them. Boom. We now have an arrow with straight lines. All right, guys, last but not least, let's talk about cleanup. One of the worst things you can do is do all of this work and have corners and edges that look horrible. It's not gonna purvey awesomeness, it's not gonna make a memorable moment, and it's not gonna achieve any type of new heights. It's actually gonna bring you down because people are gonna see these things, trust me. It just doesn't look good. So what you wanna do, make sure you get a straight edge or a razor of some sort, and let's go around and cut these lines. So on any right angles, we're gonna find our line. We're just gonna bring it out. Make sure that our lines are cut. If you're doing this on rubber, you wanna make sure that you're doing a light cut. It can be done. I did my whole part. It's tedious, but look at that line now. Boom, same thing with our arrows. We're gonna come through. If we're pointing to an attraction and we place our arrow down a little bit behind the line, it's gonna allow us to get these really clean, crisp points. And it's going to look awesome. This also took quite a bit of time. Same thing with our angles like this. Take the time, cut the line, make it look good. And that's how you create clean, crisp corners, lines. Let's do this right, guys. All right, so that's how we do this, guys. That's how you create excellence and purvey awesomeness, and that's how we achieve new heights. We do it right the first time. We set the standard here at Circus Tricks, and we're gonna do this right. So if you have any questions or you need anything else, you need other comments or other videos, reach out to me. I'll help out any way I can. Thank you, God bless.